and it's going to be green light racing here at Monza. Here goes Noah. We're going to try and go wheel to wheel with the leader, Vic, once again, back on the top step. We did say take it easy. Oh my goodness. Sinead's going to go for it here into 14, 15. Side by side, is it going to be Mercedes or is it going to be a BMW?
Hello everybody and welcome to the stream. Thank you very much for joining us here tonight. As you can see, we've got our shop open here at Phoenix Sim Sport 2. Pop over to the website whenever you are able, phoenixsimsport.co.uk. Take a look at some stuff there. Hopefully, there should be some new stuff coming soon. And we are going to be adding new features to the website all the time. So make sure you get over there, favorite it, and make sure you're able to get to it anytime. Don't forget as well to look at our affiliate sponsorships. Asetek is one of them. I can highly recommend their pedals. Absolutely excellent. I use the Fortes myself. Very good set of pedals. Very, very solid indeed. So very good source for some high-end racing gear. Then, as well as that, Stealth, if you're looking other gear for your PC or gaming setup, then Stealth is a very good source as well. Okay. So, just a little moment. Sorry, the game is very loud. Let's just take that down a notch or two. There we go. I can actually hear myself think, and we are going to move over then to, at the minute, just finishing off a little bit of qualifying. So we'll go over to the trackside view here. So we are on board with WMTR Martin, who has won several championships on the bounce. 3 championships, if I'm not mistaken, on the bounce. 4 in total. So a very impressive achievement from Martin. Just finishing off practice here, and there we go. That is rounding out the session. All right, so that is the current times on the table at the moment. But that doesn't matter because that was just practice. Qualifying is where it actually matters. And Martin working back to the pits there, looking like he's not quite ready for a lap at the minute. Let's see who we can go on board with then. So at the moment, it is looking like Marcel's going to be the first to cross the line to start a lap here at Bathurst this weekend. It is. Oh, it's not even the weekend. It is a Wednesday. But it's racing. It just feels right to say weekend. But anyway, we are here at Bathurst for the first round of the PC2 Championship, which is a very tricky circuit, especially up there on the mountain. If any of you have ever driven it before, it is a particularly difficult section. The walls are ever close. Let's go. And we'll take a look from cockpit view here from Marcel's view, and look how close he is getting to that wall to be able to extract the speed out of these cars. They're going to have to carry so much speed through some of these corners. A lot of them are pretty much, all the way on top of the hill there. They can be flat out in a GT3 car. I suspect these cars are not going to be flat out. There's going to be a lot of lift and coast through some of those corners, maybe even a dab on the brakes to get the nose in. Then as we go down from the mountain, we are then going to carry on to the longest straight. Maybe if the first straight is not the longest. But certainly a massive overtaking opportunity here. So as we come down to round out sector 3, just a little chicane to go, and then the final corner, which is a left-hander onto the start-finish straight, which is relatively short in comparison to the straight that comes afterward. So here we go, about to start our lap. Let's see what these guys can do. They're not going to get a huge number of laps in here. There is the lap time is going to be an over 2 minute lap time. Let's see what it comes out to be. But it's going to be difficult to get an awful lot of laps in, so you gotta really be on it quite quick to be able to get a good qualifying position here. Everyone doing a good job at spreading the field out. It's always wise to make sure that there's plenty of gap in front of your car so that you're not ending up catching someone while they are on a quali lap. Because if they're on a quali lap and so are you, you can't do anything about it. You have to abandon your lap because it's not fair then to make the car in front abandon their lap. But Marcel doesn't have to worry about that. He's got a clear track ahead and getting very close to the wall, in fact, making contact with the walls. So he is trying to get absolutely everything out of this. Still valid. Looks like that car very floaty on the rear axle. There seems to be a lot of rotation coming up over the crest. It does tend to happen that as the car goes over the crest, the tires do lose a considerable amount of grip because usually the force of gravity that would push down into the tarmac, it is no longer there, and so the tires don't quite have as much grip. So it's a tricky part of the circuit, but so far, Marcel doing well to keep it on track here. And as we come down through the chicane, so Martin first to set a lap. That I wonder, is that because maybe he's desynced, but Marcel is going to be the first one we watch across the line anyway. So it's a 2:16 for Marcel, and that's a good lap time to put on the board for now. As we said, it was going to be just over 2 minutes. GT3 normally does around 2 minutes here. So that is a good lap time for these class of cars. Let's see who's coming down around the final corners now. It's TTJ and Mighty Hatchet. Let's see what they can do. TTJ is going to come in a 224.9, and Mighty is going to come in then a 228.7. So 8.5 and 12.3 seconds off the lead at the moment. So still a little bit of time to find in there for those guys. Let's see how they carry on. Solchin then pops in at 2 minute 30. Going a little wide at turn 1 there. Potentially a little bit of a mistake. We'll probably need to wait until next lap before he can set a representative time. Martin then challenging for pole position. 0.206 off of pole with a 16.6. So a good lap there from Martin as well. Let's see, can he do any better? Let's see here where so Kenzie is going to be the next across the line. Let's see what kind of lap time can Kenzie put in for the first time. And across the line it is. And it's not a valid lap, so that will not go on the board. Ike Puck was next, but also doesn't set a valid lap time. So right now those guys are in P7 and 9 at the moment. Oscar yet to set a lap time as well. Let's see if we can go on board. Marcel boxing. That I assume is to grab some new tires and get back out there and set another lap. So next across the line then would be TTJ. Can TT make any kind of improvement here? Got 8.5 seconds worth of deficit at the moment. How much of that can we cut off right now? That didn't look like it was a valid lap, so that's a 224.979. Still stays on the board for TT then, and I think Mighty may as well have been in a similar position behind as well. Oscar may very well have been in a similar position as well. I wonder the drivers struggling to set lap times. Let's just take a look at the timing board. Yeah, even on the timing board, there's nothing up there for those guys at the moment. So potentially a little bit of a struggle. I just realized the desktop audio was off, so you can't actually hear the game sounds. So all you've heard is me chatting for a little while. But there we go. That should be us. All good now. You should be able to hear that okay. Let's see if Kenzie and Ikapak here, can they settle up time? Hopefully we can get one on the board as we go across the line. Kenzie does, so Kenzie goes P3 with a 222.237 at the moment, all of the twos. That is Ikapak next then with 226.809. 10.4 off the lead at the moment again. A little bit of time in there that those guys can hopefully find. Let's see how they do. Let's see who is going to be next across the line. And that looks like, I'm not sure when the lap time was posted, but the gap to pole has reduced a considerable amount. 79 milliseconds between P1 and P2 right now. So quite a bit of a fight going on there, which is interesting. Right, is Martin going to improve on this lap time? I don't think it is. I think this is an outlap, judging by the gap to the times there. Best lap delta. No, it wasn't. It actually was a hot lap, and it was a 6/10 improvement. So that then does bring Martin half a second up into pole. So, yep, let's see if he holds on to that. Can anyone beat that? 2:15.8 for now. Oscar, probably one of Martin's main rivals. Down on the 2:16.9 at the moment, 1.1 off the lead. That car looking very loose indeed. The guys were talking about which setup to use for this track. And it seemed that Oscar was more towards the loose preference, but that car looks like a handful, but it is a 1 second improvement in the first sector, which is absolutely incredible. So what can we do in the second sector? This is where you can gain or lose so much time just purely through confidence. You have to be able to throw the car between those walls, but at the same time, you make a slight mistake, and that's it. That could very well be qualifying over. And we're going to come down to the T2 line now. just a 1 second improvement. It's extremely close. It's still 1/10 off of Martin's time. So Oscar needs to pull out all the stops here in the final sector to see what he can get out of it. But there's not an awful lot in Sector 3 other than just pure acceleration zones. There's really 2 braking zones in Sector 3. Flicking the car around, using all of the track on the exit, blasting towards the line. What's it going to be across the line? Martin sets an even faster lap, so unfortunately it looks like Oscar's lap there wasn't valid, so it wasn't an improvement for him, but Martin puts an even bigger improvement on there to bring it down to a 15.6, so 7/10 then ahead of P2. So Oscar's got a good bit of work here to do to try and close that gap down. Let's just stay on board and see what this car looks like. You can see how wide he's trying to place the car to try and open up every single corner as much as possible. Just put the speed on for a little bit. Let's see how Oscar controls the car around here. Bit of a lift through there, and then into the chicane. Dabbing the brakes, and unfortunately a mistake for Oscar does mean this lap will have been invalidated, and it does result in a crash, so he does then go back to the pits. So let's see, can Marcel improve a little bit of a beat up car there? The front seems to have taken a little bit of damage there on Marcel's car, but ultimately, what time can he get out of this lap? That is the question. We've got 41 seconds left to go, so it's not an awful long time left to go in this session before that sets our grid. In fact, Marcel might be the last person that will be able to set a lap, because I don't think the next person will have enough time to get around. They won't, because that is session complete. So Marcel is going to be the last one to set a final lap time. What's it going to be? It's not really going to be an improvement. I don't think that was a mistake out of the final corner, I reckon. It doesn't look like it's going to be an improvement, so Marcel does have to be happy with P2 for now. So, while the cars are rolling back around into the pits, we will be right back with you in a moment. Well, it helps if you unmute your mic before you start talking. Honestly, I promise I'm good at this stuff. So there we go, qualifying over as we can see. Martin then on pole, followed by Marcel. Oscar in behind, then Kenzie also following on the next row of the grid. TTJ in P5. Then we've got Mr. Bean there in P6. Mighty Hatchet in P7. Ikapok then in P8. And Soul Chain in P9. So an interesting grid here today. Hello, Shanae and Rico. Welcome. And to watch a little bit of PC2, eh? Something a little different. And you get to see me. So just a little bit of time here for the drivers to get ready at the start of the race. Looks like the countdown should be starting very soon. Everyone just doing final tweaks in order to get ready. Here we go. This is us now. We are about to get ready to go. And here we go. Green lights and away we go. It is a great start from, I think that is Kenzie down in the back, but Martin is still going to lead away. Kenzie up into P3, Marcel down into P4. We see some cars away into the gravel there in the background. It was a BMW away into the gravel, but it looks like everyone is away relatively well as we look back down along that very long straight and see the massive elevation change. But talking about elevation change, we're going up the hill here, and it looks like there's a little contact there between Oscar and Marcel going into turn 2. But everyone still facing the same direction, which is always a good sign. So let's take a look then at how this battle is unfolding. Contact with the wall there for Oscar in P2. Marcel clattering the wall, and that is then going to result in a spin. Yellow flag, and TTJ unfortunately gets involved in that. That's going to be heavy damage then for those two cars, and as you can see as well, Mighty Hatchet has caught a good bit of damage on the side of his Mercedes as well. Hopefully that car is still drivable. Ooh, it might not be, because that looks like the car just flicked to the side there out of nowhere. That might very well be suspension damage. So at the minute then, that does mean Martin has a 2.4 second lead over Oscar, as they are now in Sector 3. Kenzie then fighting for that podium then in P3, 5.9 off of the lead. Ikapok then has done a good way to has done a good job to pick his way through the grid up into P4 at the moment, and Soulchain as well doing a good job surviving a lot of that carnage. Bean and Marcel, TTJ and Mighty unfortunately getting involved in some incidents there, which may mean a quick run to the pits. Good news is, once this 20-minute race is done, they reverse the grid for race 2. So Still all to play for. And we have points that go all the way down to P20, so it's always good to keep pushing right to the end anyway. And we do see TTJ and Marcel then both in the pits. It looks like Mighty May is very well have decided to continue. So I wonder, is that in an attempt to try and stay out ahead of TT and Marcel, or does he just not think that there's enough damage there in the car to warrant a pit stop? We can't quite tell from here. That car may very well be handling well for him at the moment. Bean and Solchain then looking like they're very close together on track. Bean then looking to get back past again, see what he can do in this BMW. Let's go on board for a little. And Sochi making contact with the wall. That does then give Bean an opening, which lets Bean through then on Solchain. So that little mistake there costing Solchain P5. What can he do? Can he stay close enough to Bean to try and take advantage of anything, any issues or mistakes that Bean does make? And we can see now the fog is setting in. It does set in very quickly around here. That's not a very good view. Let's go on board with Sochi, and as we watch this battle, then it looks like this is the closest on track at the minute. And Bean does make a mistake, and is Sochi going to go around the outside? He is around the outside of the BMW. So Solchain then does take P5 back from Bean. Is Bean going to fight it back here? He's not, but Solchain has gone wide. That's going to give a bit of an opening on the inside. It's not quite enough though, so Bean doesn't quite have the momentum to be able to take use out of that. So we'll have to settle for P6 for the moment. But Solchain is going to go a little wide of the apex again. Looking like Solchain is struggling to get the nose of that car down onto the apex of the corner. So Bean, I think, probably has a little bit extra pace at this stage of the race. What are we going to do? Down into turn 2. Braking nice and early for the BMW. We're going to see what happens. Solchain again going quite wide of the apex. It's going to give us an opening. It's very difficult to make an overtake down here, or rather up here as we go into this hairpin. That is going to be very tricky indeed. So Bean doesn't quite go for it there. Solchain does make a mistake though. That means we are going to have quite a bit of momentum as we come up to the top of the hill. Are we going to make a move though? It's tricky. It's not going to be enough for now. We're going to have to be patient. We are completely filling the mirrors of that Mercedes ahead. And that might be what Solchain's feeling right now. He's feeling the pressure, and he does. I think that's the same mistake he made last time as well. That does open the door once again for Bean. So Bean back through into P5 once again. Now, the question is, Bean, does he make a mistake? He does on the exit there. Unfortunately, loses it under traction. That does then let Solchain back through again. What a battle this is. It's very interesting indeed. So at the moment, Bean back into P6. Let's have a look and see what Ikepok is doing at the moment. So Ikepok in P4 at the moment, looking like he's trying to close down Kenzie for that P3. There is a hefty bit of damage on the side of that Ford, and Ikepok may be struggling. Potentially that looks like a little bit of suspension damage as well. Let's see if we can go on board in the cockpit and just see how that wheel is being held. Yeah, it looks like the car wants to pull over to the left. which would suggest to me that there is a little bit of suspension damage there, just pulling the car over to the left and making it a bit of a struggle to be able to handle the car. So can Akapok close down this gap? That is the question. It is going to be tricky indeed, but Kenzie is right there, and as we've seen, it's so easy to make a mistake here at this circuit. So let's keep an eye there. At the moment, Oscar almost drifting up over the top of the hill. As we say, that's where the car goes light there, and you lose a lot of stability in the car. And looking like Oscar, he was 4 seconds back. Now he's closed that down to 2.4 seconds. I wonder, did Martin make a mistake? Oh, let's see if we can see any damage. It is 1.1 seconds down on this lap. So was that a little bit of a mistake? Or is Martin just taking it a little bit easy? Unfortunately, we didn't quite capture exactly what went on there. But gap down to 3.0 now. With only being halfway through the race at the moment. This has absolutely flown in. So it is certainly still all to play for. Martin with those very bright headlamps on, making sure he's able to see where he's going. Okay, let's take a look then back at Bean and Soul. Soul making contact with the wall. That's going to steal a little bit of momentum as we go down the straight. Is that going to open up a good chance here for Bean, who is half a second quicker on this lap than his normal delta? He is going to be on the outside for this kink, which is it's going to be tricky to go side by side. And Bean does back out, but is he going to dive ball it into the chicane? He's not, but Soul does go wide. That's going to allow Bean to catch up a little bit. Little touch of the grass. That's going to steal that little bit of momentum. That gives an opening for Bean down the inside. Can he brake late enough? He does. Soul gives plenty of room on the inside, and Bean gives plenty of room on the outside as well there. So good move there from Bean. Now, so the question is, can he hold on to it? Because now that the rules are reversed, it seems like Bean was struggling a little bit with that pressure when Soul was behind. So now he's got to pull away, use that extra pace that he's got over Soul to try and extend this gap, relieve that pressure from him. But it is very tricky to do indeed. Meanwhile, Oscar is closing that gap down. We are down to a 2.4 now. So Oscar half a second quicker on this lap than Martin. And he is 0.1 up on his delta. So it looks more like Martin is losing a touch of pace. And at the same time, Oscar is also gaining that little touch of pace. So let's keep an eye on how this dynamic ebbs and flows as time goes on. They've also got a blue flag coming up ahead of them as well, who I suspect is TTJ. It is so. TT then rolling in P9 right now, doing a good job to just keep it out on track after that unfortunate collision earlier in the race. But doing a good job to keep it out there and try and catch Mighty, see what he can do. Mighty, though, has lost position to Marcel, who has made it up into P7. So a little bit of a beat-up car, but trying his best to recover. Probably should have been up there in that podium position fight, but as we say, this is such a difficult circuit to drive. You know, it can be so tricky at times, and it's just so easy to just lose a lapse of concentration, and then you end up in the wall. That, I think, is a different bean. It's Mr. Bean, I think it is, not Soybean. Yeah, Mr. Bean, also Mr. Bean on the server. Yeah, I don't know if Soy actually has PC2 or not. that a little mistake in the background there, maybe from... I'm not quite sure. I think I saw someone flicking off to the side there. Oh, final corner. But it didn't result in a crash, so we are okay. Oscar, that little bit quicker again this lap. He is closing this gap little by little each lap. And let's see what the split time is this time. So 1.4 seconds down on his best lap delta. But Martin is also down on his best lap delta as well. Marcel with a penalty. That is an interesting spot to grab a penalty there. But it does seem to have been cleared now. So hopefully all good there. So this is now going to be very interesting. Marcel has caught up to Soul and Bean. And that's going to apply pressure to those guys again. Let's see how they deal with the pressure. Hopefully they can go through here without any mistakes. Oscar now has that gap down to 1.6 seconds. We're going to swap back to that soon, but we're going to see Marcel here is going to get a little bit impatient behind Soul. He's got so much more pace than the Mercedes ahead. So he needs to get past and recover as best he can. He can probably get it back up to P5 here. Might be a bit of a struggle to get back up to Icapok, but a P5 certainly in range for Marcel here, based on his pace. And he is going to go down the inside at the kink. Is he going to be given the space? He is, and Soul actually does back out a little before then. But Soul makes a mistake touching that grass. Soon as you touch the brakes on that grass, it's just going to flick the car out. Unfortunately, he has been caught out there. Hopefully, he is able to continue. He does lose position to Mighty in behind. So Mighty then up into P7. So doing a good job there to gain that position. One of those things that if he had a box, maybe he wouldn't have been able to get that. So let's keep an eye. Hopefully Soul is able to continue okay. So Marcel then now side by side with Bean, and it does look like then Marcel has got that done on the main straight. Bean then can now relax. He's got no more pressure behind. Martin and Oscar then have passed the blue flag driver during all of that little bit of a scuffle we saw there. Gap is down to 0.6 of a second. So really, really close here in these here last couple of laps. We are down to 4 minutes to go. So now Martin's going to start to feel that little bit of pressure. Oscar is right there, and he is closing quick. It is the time is going down all the time. So let's see what happens here through turn 1. Martin trying to break the toe a little bit as he moves over to make sure that Oscar doesn't get too much of a slipstream behind. Interesting through there that Martin just looking that little bit looser at the rear than Oscar. I wonder is Martin just pushing that little bit harder to try and get away. Oscar has got things just nice and relaxed. He can just stay here, try and creep up, gain ground, just that little bit, and apply that pressure. But at the same time, you can't wait forever. This is likely going to be the penultimate lap. Next lap is likely to be the final lap. So here we go. Coming back down the mountain once again, and that gap is extremely tight. It looks like Oscar actually is much better at the top of the mountain. So when we leave the mountain section, as Oscar comes sliding into view there, we get back on the par, and Oscar is right in that slipstream now. 0.4 of a second between the top two drivers. This is absolutely electric, and this is only our first race. We're going to get a really interesting race for race 2. Down to 0.2 of a second by the time we got to the braking zone. That will extend a little bit. There is a natural little bit of a concertina effect. Happens in all types of racing, whether there is huge downforce or not. These cars don't have as much downforce, so the concertina effect shouldn't have as much of an impact, but it still will happen. So 0.3 of a second as we go across the line. Oscar has that little bit more pace, but he's got to throw it at the right time. He's got a good exit out of turn 1. It's down to 0.2 of a second. Is it going to be enough for him to throw it down the inside of turn 2, though? You have to get up very early in the morning to be able to throw a move like that on Martin. He's going to try and go around the outside, though. And he's still there, which means then he's going to be side by side for the inside of the hairpin. He's got it side by side, and he's got it done. Through goes Oscar. What a move at a very tricky part of the circuit that is difficult to do on your own, and it's difficult in a high downforce car, never mind these things that hardly have any. So the question then is, can Martin hang on? Can he throw it back down the inside again? Unlikely. I think Oscar has got this because he's got that little bit more pace at the top of the mountain, but this is Mount Panorama. It's so easy to make mistakes, but Oscar is a good, solid, consistent driver. So, oh, and now it's Martin coming sliding into view as we come back down the hill. Gap now at 0.5 of a second. It's looking ever more like a final lap pass is what has done it for Oscar. That is time out, so this will be the final lap of the race, and we then are about to see, confirm this result. Kenzie is the only other driver. No, wouldn't be the only other driver on lead lap. Never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about, clearly. So, here we go. Oscar down into the final corner. And there was a blue flag, but well out of the way. So, very good. Oscar then does win here at round 1. What an absolutely incredible drive. Martin, so controlled from the start of the race. Did you very well to control the pace at the start of the race. Got that little bit of a gap, which gave him enough of an advantage to be able to hold on to the lead for so long. But in the end, Oscar just had that little bit extra there to be able to pull it in. Kenzie then is going to be the next one to cross the line. 16 seconds down the road, but it is a podium. Kenzie's got to be happy with that. He survived where other drivers got involved in incidents, so that's an important part of making sure, or of good racecraft, making sure that you survive where your rivals don't. So here we go, and then so a good recovery then for Marcel. What happened to Ikapok? Ikapok, it looks like Ikapok must have been the one then that suffered the crash at the final turn because he has lost quite a few positions. So he's down in P8. That then does promote Marcel up to P4, which is a reasonable recovery. Again, probably should have been in there battling the podium places, but P4, you got to take your points where they come. Bean then, very respectable P5. Again, just hanging in there, doing a good job to avoid incidents where possible. Mighty then brings it home P6. A good result. having had some contact earlier in the race again, just keeping plugging away, and minimizing mistakes throughout the race. So a good P6 there. So then it's going to bring that Mercedes across the line for P7, and that I think is going to be final driver across the line. It is. So that then does round us out for this race. We have got 7 drivers who were still on the lead lap. Let's see if that replay, that was definitely interesting. So, an interesting race there. And interestingly as well, Martin with the fastest lap, setting a 2:16.3, but Oscar with the 2:16.4. So, Martin's pace towards the end of that race just started to drop off. That allowed Oscar then to close in those final stages and be able to grab the win away from his rival. So, this is going to be an interesting battle. But hey, we've got another race for you, so don't go anywhere. We're going to be going again in a couple of minutes' time. I think we are at a 5-minute break, at which point then we will return and be back for race 2. So, excellent. There we go. That looks like the end of that. So, okay. While then we do take a moment to prepare for the next race, I will just step away from a moment. I will be right back. So don't go anywhere at all, because there is still plenty of racing action to watch here. But we will be back with you very shortly. Okay, we are about to get going underway once again. So, the ultimate question then is going to be, what can Martin and Oscar do? Or can Martin do anything to try and beat out Oscar? Is Oscar going to have the ultimate pace? Uh, these are the questions we are about to answer. Hashtag not sponsored. I wish. That would be cool. By that particular brand, I mean. Because we are sponsored by Asetek. And please do make sure to go and visit Asetek using our link if you are in the need for some simulation gear. Um, it helps us a little, and also it means you get some great gear. As I say, highly recommended. Um, we have links to other websites as well. Don't forget our Rogue Energy link as well to get some lovely energy drinks. There's some good stuff on there. And as well as that, don't forget our website too. Again, there's some good gear on there. Okay. While we're waiting, let's get some random facts up about Mount Panorama, shall we? Unfortunately, it's closed right now. So if you wanted to go and visit right this very second, you wouldn't be able to. So it's very unfortunate. It is located in Bathurst, in New South Wales, Australia, situated on Mount Panorama itself. Usually, it is best known for the Bathurst 1000. It is held each October, so it's not far away from actually next month, the Bathurst 1000. So popular race for a lot of motor racing fans. And yep, so that's coming up soon. And Bathurst 12 hour held each February. This is a popular track as well for a lot of ACC drivers. It's one of those that probably it can be a little like Marmite. Some love it, some hate it. It is a very good challenge though, and extremely difficult from a endurance point of view. You have to maintain such focus up on top of that mountain, and if you make a mistake, that throws away your entire endurance event. So um, it's tricky. Where some other tracks may very well be a little bit more forgiving. For example, Paul Ricard, you make a small mistake, you go off onto that massive tarmac runoff, um, and it can let you away with it. Here, it doesn't, and we saw some of that today as well. Hopefully, with the drivers having got their eye in a little bit, then we won't see that with this particular event or this second race. But yeah, let's see how it goes. Okay, drivers are now readying up. Oh no, a message was deleted. Well, thank you for the engagement anyway. Okay, so we are going to see, because there is no natural way to do a reverse grid in PC2, we are going to see the drivers here. Oh, well, we're not going to see the drivers, so thanks for joining. Just kidding. It is foggy conditions here for the start of the race, so it's going to be tricky to watch the action as it unfolds, but we're going to do our best. So we are going to see the drivers then form up manually in their respective positions in a reverse grid. Everyone then activates their pit speed limiter, essentially doing a formation lap. That then will bring us back around to the start finish straight, at which point then everyone turns off their pit speed limiter and away we go. So it is going to be interesting. I think it adds a little bit of extra spice to the PC2 section. PC2 always has been, and always has delivered some very good racing. But it's something that it's an extra little feather in the cap. These little reverse grid races can do. Hello and welcome back. That was unfortunately a very poorly timed ad, but welcome back and thank you for joining us. So lights have gone green, but as we say, the drivers are going to manually form up here in the reverse order of where they finished in the previous race. So you'll see TTJ, then Soul, then Mighty, then Bane, Art, or Marcel, is going to take P5, Kenzie P3, or P6 rather, Martin is going to take P7, and Oscar P8. So this is going to be interesting. Excuse me. It's tricky whenever you have reverse grid races. What can tend to happen is you have a lot of fast, impatient drivers behind a lot of less experienced or less confident, slower drivers. Sometimes that can result in interesting situations, but everyone here within the PC2 fraternity, they do race as best they can. So hopefully we can see some really good racing here. It's all going to be about how well you can cut your way through the field as efficiently as possible by losing the least amount of time, but ultimately as safe as possible. There's no point getting P2, trying to make a move that's just too crazy, and ending up stacking into the wall. So let's see how it goes. Let's go on board here with TTJ. Trackside is probably going to be a little bit of a struggle to see anything. So we might have to use a different camera at some point. Let's put the speedo on just so that we can see what the drivers are actually doing at that particular time. Obviously right now this is just a installation lap. So the drivers are not going at full pace right now. And it will be up to TTJ then when the when the decision to go is. I promise I can do words. That made sense in my head. I hope it made sense in yours as well. So here we go. Down towards. We're in the third sector now. So the cars, although you can't see them, should be bumping up. Or bunching up, rather. Yep. There we go. Everyone in their relative positions. In a 2x2. So this is going to be a new experience for us here this season. A rolling reverse grid start. It's certainly tricky. But TT, the one in control at the moment. We're not going to be able to use that camera, unfortunately, so we are only going to have this camera. And away we go! So it is a green light as we go full throttle then down into turn 1. What has Soul done? So Soul does go wide, and we make contact with Kenzie. Kenzie a little bit too hot there. Bean making contact, I think, with Oscar as well. But everyone through relatively unscathed. A little bit of time lost by each driver there. But Martin already all the way through up to P2. So he's done an incredible job. One corner and he's sided his way through 6 other cars and is right now on the gearbox of TTJ. So let's see how Martin is able to handle TT ahead. How long can TT hold on for? Mighty having a little bit of a moment, I think, there on the way up the hill. TT having a big moment, touching the wall. That lets Martin through. So Martin is through into P1. Now the ultimate question is just going to be how fast can Oscar also cut his way back through the field, get up into P2 and chase down Martin to try and get this here reverse sprint win as well. Only time will tell, but TT holding on to that P2 for now, and Marcel applying pressure to Mighty. So again, everyone through relatively well unscathed on this first lap. Doing a good job so far. Bean has dropped back a little bit from Soul. Hopefully everything's okay. That's a bit of a squeeze onto the grass there as Oscar goes around the outside. Oscar has got a brilliant run as Marcel puts himself on the grass. And a little bit of contact with Mighty. That was a little bit much, I think. And, Mighty breaks into the kink because of the car being upset due to that contact. And Soul, unfortunately, I think that was Soul just clipping him and sending him around. So Mighty, unfortunately, down into P8 after running quite well there in P3 for a good bit of that. Soul and Bean are going to have another crazy battle here. Oscar right on the gearbox of TT. TT just going wide out onto the gravel and down to P5 for now, but still some good points on the table here for TT. Still some positions ahead of where he was before, but it's Kenzie and Marcel now battling for that final podium position. Oscar into P2, 1.6 behind. We know that Martin was a little bit quicker at the start of the race. In the initial race. Is it going to be the same here? We don't know. We're going to keep an eye on that gap. What can Marcel do? Now that Marcel is in that good position, but not having had that contact, earlier in the race, can he now get in there and start to challenge as well? He's had a good 20 minutes of driving, basically in a lot of free air to get a good feel of things. Or can Kenzie keep in touch, and be able to fight back for that P3 position. Bean and Soul then. Bean is already passed, so Bean up to P6. Soul coming up onto the top of the hill. As we see the sun setting, absolutely beautiful here in Bathurst. We can see damage once again on the side of that car, so there's been contact with the wall at some point. That's going to hurt Soul's pace a little bit of damage there for Bean as well. That's a little wide as we see Soul tapping that wall on the outside too. It's so tricky. It is so tricky. You would not believe. But Bean getting into a good rhythm now and extending that gap. Okay. Gaps. Oscar. 1.2. 1 second. And Martin. No, sorry, Oscar. Okay, so this might give Martin a little bit of a gap here because Oscar's got to get rid of that penalty. Going a little wide. That might be why he did pull in so much time. That penalty's not going away. Hopefully it doesn't give a time penalty, because that would hurt. And a big slide as we turn in to turn 2. But Oscar right on the tail of Martin. Interesting, Martin taking quite a wide line through there, whereas Oscar takes more of a direct route. That is an interesting difference between the two. Fastest sector from Martin, and then right away beaten by 0.3 of a second by Oscar. These guys are on fire. They're just setting fast sector. These guys are pushing. Let's see how they get on. That does mean, ooh, a little tap of the wall from Martin. Might be a little bit of an uncharacteristic, unforced error there by Martin. It might not have much of an effect on performance. Any damage to the body of the car will give a little bit of aero loss, but how much it affects these cars, don't know. But we are going to find out. So Marcel is dropping, so that P3 position for now, that might be as high as Marcel can get. It's all going to depend on what happens with this battle. Can he pick up any of that pace? He's closing a little bit, a little 10th here, a little 10th there, but then loses it again. Oh! Oscar! Massive dive around the outside! I did not expect that! That came out of nowhere. Was that Martin braking a little early? Or Oscar braking super late? I don't know if even Martin expected that. That seemed to come out of nowhere. Marcel going a little wide in the background, but recovers okay. That was very interesting. I was not expecting a move at that particular point. That was spicy. But for now, positions are still Martin in front, Oscar behind. And that's so cool. See the cars drifting as they come up the hill out of that corner. Oh, these guys are right on that limit. Flick the car in as we go up the mountain. No! Oscar just brushing that wall. Perfect four-wheel drift on that lifting point. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Oh, Martin makes a mistake! And it's enough to let Oscar through. So, yeah, uncharacteristic error from Martin. That lets Oscar through. Oscar now .2 of a second up, but Martin's got a really good run here, and he's in the slipstream. Can he fight back? I think he's got to get back in front, otherwise Oscar's going to run away. Oh, side by side through the kink, down the inside. Can Martin hold on to it? A little bit of a tap, but Oscar just says, heck no, this is mine, buddy. You ain't getting that. So for now, Martin's going to have to settle for P2 Flames shooting out of the side of that Nissan? Nissan? I think it's a Nissan. It is a Nissan. So for now, Oscar P1, Martin P2. So this could be a double win for Oscar. But we're only halfway through. We've got 11 minutes to go, and again, Martin's got a really good run here. He seems to be better at this first and second sector, and then Oscar is able to run away in the third, or in the second sector. Sorry, first and third. I meant Martin was better at. Round the outside of turn 2. A little bit of a drift. Oh, contact! No, there is contact between the first two, and that does let Marcel through for P1. So Oscar has done the sportsman thing and has parked up for now to allow Martin to get back around facing the right way. Kenzie is also going to get through. That's going to be a hefty bit of damage for Martin. So Oscar doing the sportsman thing, as I say, allowing this battle to naturally continue. That's good to see. You know, and it's something that is very characteristic of PC2 drivers here. Everyone has a very good sportsmanship. Or a sense of sportsmanship. So wonderful to see that we can see this battle continue naturally. But unfortunate, Martin did really well to get the car around the outside there on turn 2, and it was just unfortunate contact. So interestingly, Marcel out in the lead. Can he hold on to it? Massive drift from Oscar. He is pushing now to try and get back through. Huge drift! And I think that might be Oscar facing the wrong way. It is. It looks like that was maybe a bit too much of a push there. He is back in reverse, but he's going to have to be careful of TT coming down the hill. So TT gains a position. There is a yellow flag still here, but Oscar's got enough time to get out in front of Bean. That's probably going to be enough to mean that it's going to be a struggle for Oscar to fight for a podium now. You know, he's still got those good solid points from race 1, but this is going to be a little bit disappointing of a result for Oscar. But he's going to push on. You know, he's one of those ones that will see it right to the end. You know, but good opportunity here for TT. Great opportunity for Marcel and Kenzie. You know, the question is, how long can Marcel hold on to this for? He was dropping back in that in P3, you know, but right now Martin may very well have lost that little touch of confidence, that little bit of rhythm, and potentially even be carrying that little bit of damage now as well. We saw that one of his headlights was out, so it is going to be tricky. And there is rain! Oh my goodness, as if there could not have been another spanner in the works. With 8.5 minutes left to go in this race, rain starts falling. So, are these guys on slicks? We don't quite know if these are slick tires or if these are groove tires. Can these guys continue? Either way, this is going to throw a massive spanner in the works, because rain is the great equalizer. You know, it makes things an awful lot more difficult, and you know, certain drivers are better in rain, whereas others aren't. So this is going to be really spicy. Heck, this might even be, if Oscar can deal with the rain better, this might be Oscar's way to get back into that podium fight again. You know, who knows? Who knows? It might be a good way even for Mighty to get back into a position to fight Soul. So we've got 7.5 minutes left to go, and we might very well see some action going on. Of course we were. Of course we were. That's why you're here, you know, because we're going to bring the action. So Martin now closed up to the back of Kenzie, but yeah, that car is severely damaged. That's got some serious suspension damage on it. That's going to be very, very tricky to handle. Rain is just going to make that even worse. This is going to be interesting. So, Marcel is into the pits. So, he fancies a change of tyres. I imagine this is probably then slicks to a wet weather type tyre. Who else is going to dive into the pits as well? I imagine if they are on slicks, it is going to be a no-brainer. 6 minutes left of racing. So they're going to have to. Kenzie missing the breaking point there a little bit. Running out a little wide. Question is, how much damage is Martin going to be able to afford to fix here? Oscar back up into P4. Oscar, being an absolute chad, is going to try and go for another lap here. At least one other lap. So Oscar now into P2. Did he already have wet weather tires on or something? You know, maybe these are already grooved. Wow, this is quite the gamble. This is quite the gamble indeed. Marcel already back out into the lead of this race with those new tires. So, whatever happens, Marcel has a good solid chance here. 7.6 seconds of a lead to be able to take the win here. We are probably down to the last 2 laps here. The laps will be a little bit longer with with only 5 minutes to go. 8.1 seconds then to Oscar, and it's 7 seconds to Kenzie behind, who has a new set of tires as well. Kenzie did stop. Oscar slapping the wall. You know, is this signs that this might not have been the best idea? Maybe there's too much time left in this race to have risked it. He's already lost absolute chunks of time to Kenzie, but does it matter? Is Kenzie his target? Is he just looking to get more points than Martin? Or is he trying to maximize points here? But he is drifting absolutely everywhere. He needs to do the best he can here. Maybe the risk was the only way for Oscar to try and gain something here out of this race. Soul and Mighty also boxing. I think they're probably repairing a lot of damage. They seem to be in there for quite a while. But they are Soul back out now, and hopefully Mighty will come back out soon too. So 13.2 seconds now, the gap to the lead for Oscar. 3 seconds the gap behind, and it's approximately, if I do some quick math, it is approximately 17 seconds, 18 seconds from Oscar to Martin. This is gonna be really hard to call. Is Martin gonna be able to catch up in time to Oscar? Or has Oscar pulled an absolutely crazy, amazing strategy and been able to overtake his rival by not taking new tires? I suspect Kenzie is probably going to get through here. That car just looks so much more planted than the Nissan in front. So let's see how that goes on. We've got Marcel catching up to a blue flag driver ahead, who is Mighty Hatchet. Hopefully Marcel can get through there nice and safe. Kenzie, I suspect this is going to be a move that is going to be coming up very soon indeed. Oh, another huge drift as we come down into that hairpin, back up the hill, and Oscar struggling to get on that throttle pedal, struggling to keep it off the walls. Kenzie needs to be careful that Oscar doesn't bounce off the wall and then end up bouncing back into the path of him and then removing him from this podium fight. but at the same time, Kenzie needs to get through. Well, he doesn't really need to get through quickly. He needs to be rather patient here, actually, because there is quite a gap behind. So he's got a bit of time. Oscar! Oscar! Yeah, Oscar drifting sideways, and Kenzie somehow able to make it through. Absolutely incredible driving from those two guys. You know, very well done. How Oscar kept that out of the wall, or properly out of the wall. Absolutely no idea. Um, as I'm sure you all know, I am rather experienced driving slick tires in wet conditions. Um, you know, experience does not mean fast. Experience just means I made the mistake. I don't think anyone will let me live that down. And it is tough. You know, and PC2, rainfalls hard. You know, so it's got to be absolutely insane to drive this out here. But Oscar is doing an incredible job. 7.7 seconds to the car behind. This is going to be final lap. Because now we're down to less than 1 minute. Look at the size of that puddle. How is that car not just going absolutely straight off the road? Must be... You almost need a boat to drive in this weather. So Oscar just drifting that thing around everywhere. But 6 seconds is the gap. Oh, this is going to be really interesting. What is the difference in time between these two? Do you know what? Can we bring up timings? So Oscar, last lap, 2:36.8. Martin, 2:25.3 last lap. So Martin, 11 seconds quicker with a 4.6 second gap. Whoa! This is gonna come right down to the last couple of corners here, probably. Maybe not. It's already down to 3 seconds. I think. Yeah, I think the weather came a little bit too early for the risky strategy to properly pay off here for Oscar. He's still going to gain a position over TT, you know, but could he have done that without taking such a risky strategy? Yeah, probably. But then would he have had the chance to stay ahead of Martin? Maybe not. Martin now 0.8 of a second behind. And with the Nissan in front just sliding everywhere, it seems like a bit of a foregone conclusion as to how this is going to end up, although it may depend. Oh, on when the move is attempted, Oscar still holding on to that position. They are now on the straight, but there is a chicane coming up. You know, so this is going to be really interesting. Martin now right under the bumper. Oh, this could not go well. They go side by side there, but Martin looks like he's through already. And surely there is absolutely no way Oscar's going to be able to break late enough. No, he's already losing. Oh, far too much. Absolutely heroic attempt by Oscar on that particular to use that particular strategy. I have absolutely no words. Incredible stuff. What a drive from Oscar to come back, you know, from those mistakes earlier in the race. Martin does take P3, Oscar does take P4, but as well we also have to celebrate, you know, Azerhard Marcel also taking a win. Congratulations on the reverse grid win. A brilliant drive there, you know, and a little bit of vindication from the first race. Kenzie, P2, very good race there from Kenzie as well. You know, did well to hold on to that P2 despite that weather change. And then we're going to see TT then. Good results for TT, you know, dropping down from P1 at the start of the race, down to P5, and then just held on to it from there. So a good job for TT. Bean looks like he's going to bring it home in P6. Mighty finishes P8 because he was a lap down. So now we are just waiting on Bean and Soul. And a little drift through the final corner just to show off a little bit. Absolute class. Wow. A lot can happen in 20 minutes. So a little bit of a mistake there coming down into the chicane. But it's okay, he'll still finish in this position regardless. So, yeah. That rain just falling at that particular time. If that had been, a lap later, Oscar's strategy would have worked. It would have been better to not take the new tires. But the fact that the rain fell at that particular time, it meant that the wet weather tires were the optimal option. Yep, it means then Oscar does have to settle for P4 today. But again, a beautiful win there from CPU Azerhard Marcel, and a good result there for Kenzie. And to round out the podium then is Martin. This time, interesting, Oscar is the one with the fastest lap overall. That would have been during the dry period to have got that kind of lap time. So, let's see if we move over to I might have to change things on the fly. We can just leave that up there, and we'll do some. Let's just bring in our race 2 winner for now. Let's see. So, welcome, Marcel, to the commentary box. An interesting race there for the sprint, and a bit of a difficult one in the first race there. Unfortunately, getting involved in some contact, but coming back very strong in those difficult conditions with a race win for the second one. Tell us how you feel.
Well, I mean, I do feel quite happy about it.
Good.
Especially the comeback drive on the first run.
Definitely.
I mean, what happened there? I was just out of position going in at the top of a mountain, lost the car. There wasn't exactly much I could do, but managed to climb back to P4, and I was happy with it.
Definitely, and it's some good solid points to start off the season. It's a good way to build that confidence. So definitely, you've got to be proud of that today. And being able to deal with those tough conditions, making the right strategy decisions at the right time. Yep, definitely an excellent drive. Well done.
Thank you. I mean, Bathurst ain't exactly my favorite, but I can kind of count it as a bit of a redemption.
Definitely, it's one of those tracks I mentioned there earlier in the stream. It can be a little bit like Marmite, where you either love it or hate it. But I think we could definitely both agree that it is a massive challenge for the drivers, but well handled out there today. So
thank you.
Congratulations. All right.
Yeah, and I of course want to give my thanks to everyone else.
No problem at all. And thank you too. Okay, I'm going to move you back to... Do you want to go back to PC2?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll move you back there. And next up then, we will go with... let's go with Oscar. Because it is going to be interesting to hear Oscar's point of view. Oscar, I hope you don't mind me pulling you in. And thank you for joining us in the Combox. An interesting 2 races there. Congratulations on the win in the first. An absolutely beautiful move on the final lap of the race. Oh, Oscar has moved back, unfortunately, so we probably won't be getting an interview there. Let's see. Can we get Kenzie. Let's get. See if Kenzie will go for. Kenzie, do you have a moment for an interview? Oh no. Okay. It looks like we won't have any more interviews the rest of this evening. Those guys are busy looking over some stuff. So that's going to be it. That's going to wrap us up for this evening. Remember, guys, don't be afraid to check out some of our affiliate links. All of that stuff helps us an awful lot. There's loads of good gear out there, everything from energy drinks to headsets. All the way up to your racing gear, like your Aseteks and your Mozas. There's some good stuff there, and all of that helps us a lot. It helps us bring you quality content. Everything gets fed back into bringing you quality. So that's what it's all about. And as well, don't forget to check out the website, phoenixsimsport.co.uk. There's some good stuff on there, and it will only get better over time as well. Again, it's all about making sure that you get that quality content. So, I've had a wonderful time. This has been a really interesting race. I hope you join us next week as well. Don't forget to check out our ACC stream on the Saturday as well. And you heard it here first. Hopefully, within the next couple of weeks, we're also going to see Formula One returning to the track on Assetto Corsa. There is some wonderful content going to be coming there, but that is in the building process at the moment. So do keep an eye out for all of the pings. Please make sure that you're subscribed and all that kind of good stuff as well. I hate talking about that bit, but yeah, smash that like button, all that kind of stuff. Is there a like button on Twitch? Love? Is the heart button? Whatever. Yeah. Thank you very much for joining us. I've been Maverick, and hopefully you have a great rest of your evening, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.